come back to Johannesburg now, because the city has given itself until 2030 to cut its reliance on Eskom. It comes as the country is battling a third straight week of load shedding. The City of Johannesburg has been holding a two-day Energy Indaba, which is aimed at coming up with solutions to the country's electricity crisis. Johannesburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse has outlined plans to introduce an energy mix in the metro. Let's get more on this then. We're joined by Acting City Power CEO Tshifularo Mashava. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, ma'am. And thank you for your patience as well. I know you've been waiting for quite a while tonight. So 4 options, including gas and solar, on the table for the City of Johannesburg. How quickly do you expect to make a choice between them? And do you have a clear leaning as far as the best option as things stand?
We are ready. We are looking for any viable option, really, that will be able to reduce our reliance on Eskom at this point in time. We are ready to go to market. So in about 3 months' time, our RFPs should be out in the market. It's going to be across all the alternatives at this point in time. And what will make sense for us is really the price at the end of the day. We are willing to procure power, which is at a much cheaper rate compared to Eskom.
How much would be too much as far as price goes? Do you have a cap?
We certainly do have a cap, because we're paying something like 180 cents to Eskom at the moment. So it would be really ideal for us to get anything cheaper than that. We're certainly not willing to pay more than what we're paying to Eskom.
So if you go to market in 2 to 3 months, you're hoping that overall you will reduce over-reliance on Eskom by 2030. But when would the ball begin to roll as far as benefit to people such as myself, who are residents of Johannesburg and are tired of load shedding?
So the ball is beginning to roll as we speak now, because part of the project is really about getting our own key customers to have energy storage. When that happens, it's also part of the process of mitigating against load shedding. As the city, we also have some of our own CapEx allocation budget, which has been allocated to start introducing some form of renewable energy into the grid as well. So as soon as the financial year we start now in July kicks in, our project starts.
And the point is to reduce over-reliance on Eskom, not eliminate any dependence on the national power utility, right? What would be the fraction of Eskom procured energy versus what's coming from, shall we call them, alternative sources, for the benefit of this conversation?
So at the moment, we are procuring 90% from them. In terms of the numbers that we were looking at, we wanted to procure at least 60% from them. So we're looking at 40% being from IPPs.
60-40 split. And you're confident that this is something that you can get done within a matter of, or at least get the ball rolling within the next 12 months or so, and many of us then begin to see it in action?
The process, yes, but to be able to onboard all these IPPs is a journey, because we also need to make sure that our own grid is ready to accept this. So there's some work that needs to be done on the infrastructure as well, and of course there's some regulatory processes around this as well, but the process is starting in.
I was looking today at another report based on this energy summit that you're holding, which says that it'll cost 26 billion rand to fix City Power's infrastructure. But the capital budget that you have is 7.7 billion rand, and that includes other issues that require attention as well. How are you going to make the rand stretch in order to cover all that you need to do as far as infrastructure repairs are concerned?
So the 26 billion is around repairing of our infrastructure. It's not for independent power producers. So that is really to make sure that we have a fit-for-purpose network, which allows our customers to have more reliable supply. Now, when it comes to the IPPs or to alternative energy, what we're looking for there is power purchase agreements. So that becomes part of our OPEX, not CAPEX, because then that is what we call bulk purchases from our side.
So I was not combining the two. I was not mixing the two issues. I was speaking specifically to the issue of infrastructure, that if you need 26 billion rand to repair all of this infrastructure, but what you've got as far as the capital budget, that's about 7.7 billion rand, how do you then plug that gap?
Oh, yes. Actually, we don't have 7.7 billion at City Power. The 7 billion is for City of Johannesburg as a whole. That's what the executive mayor was talking to. At City Power, we only have about 1.2 billion, which is really a fraction of the 26 billion. So obviously what we can do in the meantime is to ramp up our planned maintenance efforts because we don't have the capital to be able to replace everything at the same time. But in that time, our business cases are out there so that we can then secure more funding and we can then fast track our replacement program.
Right, Acting City Power CEO Tshifularo Mashava, good to have your time. Thank you very much for being on the program tonight, ma'am.